Welcome, everyone. This is Pineleaf Needles, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And this week we have with us Andang,
Hey, everybody.
Terry Adwin,
Hi,
Maven,
Hey, y'all.
Garvette,
At your service. And your families.
and Forte Maestro.
Hey, I'm still here, guys.
Wow. And also, please welcome the community manager for LOTRO and DDO, Cordovan.
Evening. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
And welcome to our show, and be ready to answer some questions.
Dude,
Why, there's nothing going on, is there? Yeah?
Oh, I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, it's January. Nothing ever happens, in December or January news-wise, so nothing.
You know, the
Right.
nice thing about, planning ahead for Mordor in the middle of winter is you can just sort of, feel the lava. You can feel the volcanic activity. It helps warm the bones. Like
awesome.
a cup of hot chocolate. A cup of evil hot chocolate.
Evil hot chocolate. I like it.
Get those, licensed Mordor fireplaces and...
Right.
I want one of those. I totally would spend LOTRO points for a Mordor fireplace.
I understand. I, too, have been having to transition names, and you get used to saying things just by rote, and so you have to catch yourself. It's no biggie. We have a little time here.
But yeah, I would totally pay LPs for a Mordor fireplace to put in my Gondor bank vault.
Yeah, but then you're inviting Mordor into your home, and that could be a pretty dangerous thing.
That's okay. It's just a summer house.
Keeps the pests away, right?
If it burns down, it's okay. You can build another one.
Well, it's a bank vault. It's not going
I still have the view.
to
Inviting Mordor into your home is not recommended.
But you will stay warm with the soul-searing fires of Mordor, so there you go.
Let's head into our game news, and Update 20 is currently targeted for February. Is that true?
Correct?
Any hints on what's coming in that update?
Put me on the
Wow.
spot. Let me see if I can call something up here quick.
Well, he's looking that up, Pineleaf. Breetowns did get a new lore hall this week.
Woo!
Yeah, they added this in. This was built by Chris Pearson for Corey's Exploring the Lord of the Rings course, and it's fantastic. It's in Bree, just across from the Cat Lady's house, and it's just a really nice addition to the game. I think they did a great job with it.
All right, I'm going to have to be honest. I don't actually have a lot of information I can pass along about Update 20 yet. It's going to have new stuff, and it's
more
coming
new
in
stuff.
February.
Best kind
We're
of
actually,
stuff.
we just got done, putting out a patch this past week here, right? So that was really our focus, getting back into the office.
All right, then let's head into some questions that we have for our community manager. And the first one is, if not much is really changing in the development of LOTRO, why did you make the move to Standing Stone Games? Would you not have been easier just to stay with Warner Brothers?
Well, it's a corporate decision that was made really over the past year here that we feel is going to be the best for us, for LOTRO, for DDO, and just for everyone. It aligned with everyone's interests in a way that I think is going to be really interesting for everybody involved. And so an opportunity came up, and we were able to make this happen.
So this seems like something that's fairly new in the gaming industry. I can't think of another time where licensed properties have actually left a giant corporation. I think that's kind of amazing. I don't really have a question there. I'm just surprised. Can you think of any company that's had that happen before?
I'm sure it has. Me personally, no. But I'm sure somewhere in the past this has happened. But, yeah, it's pretty interesting. It's pretty awesome.
All right, then. On DDO Players News, you said that the LOTRO expansion will be worked on before the DDO expansion. Does that mean that we could see the Mordor expansion in the second or third quarter instead of the normal fourth quarter?
Yes.
Interesting.
Ooh.
Yeah.
sounds
I love these single-word answers with no explanation. This is great.
No, okay, so here's what I know off the top of my head. I just need to ease into the information, get into the mindset. I don't have the sort of update 20 information listing in front of me, so I am going off the top of my head. So if I'm incorrect, please cut me some slack. But we are going to be taking, we do have some new content planned for it, basically heading, up to the Black Gate and all that sort of thing, and that's going to be coming here in the
Knock
near
on the
future.
door.
Sort of a, it's sort of a precursor to the Mordor stuff that, of course, is our big focus here in 2017. So we'll be pushing ahead on the expansion as quickly as we can, and we do have, work actively underway on the content leading up to that right now. We also are going to continue to do the sort of systems work that we feel needs to be done, some engineering and lag work. If we can identify some good wins there, we're going to absolutely work on that. So everyone's really just getting back into the office, tearing into basically their piles of work, and we're going to have to kind of see where everything sorts out and falls out. But yes, I do think that the goal would be to get Mordor out sooner rather than later in terms of 2017. But that said, it's almost certainly not going to be till perhaps, I wouldn't even want to take a guess at this point. Perhaps somewhere June-ish or after. Who knows?
Okay. Will
Okay.
we see another update after Mordor this year?
Yes, I believe so. I believe that is the current plan. I don't know the scope of that update or where exactly we're going to fall on the timeline there, but yes, I do think that there will be, this update 20 content, Mordor, and something else this year. That's the current goal.
Cool.
Very cool.
All right. Will we see a closed beta for the new expansion?
Ooh, good question. I would imagine so, but I don't even know that it's necessarily going to be closed. We'll have to talk more about that as we get a little bit closer to it.
All right. And some Turbine employees were involved in Shadow of Mordor. Were any members of the Shadow of Mordor team going to be involved, consulted in the development of the Mordor expansion? And if so, are they still involved after the move to Standing Stone Games?
I don't actually 100% know the answer to that question, but I don't know that they were planning to communicate, but if they are, then I'm not frankly aware of it either. So, but I don't think so. I think that ultimately we're going to be doing, we've been wanting to do Mordor for so long. I mean, it's such a cool thing that I think we've got some pretty good plans already for it. And, obviously our content's going to be significantly different than someone else's take on it. So, but yet at the same time, I do imagine there will also be some similarities. I simply don't know at this point.
All right. And what topics can we expect to learn about in the new producer's letter?
Hopefully, the current goal is to just really give people a good outline of what to expect in 2017 here.
All right. And any new information on the plans for LOTRO's 10th anniversary?
Just that it's going to be really big. I myself will be doing, say, a 12-hour live stream. We do have a stream room set up, and we're going to be even doing a little bit more there, hopefully having 2 active game clients going at the same time. We can also live stream potentially both of those. We'll see what ends up happening there. We are going to do a lot of interviews, and we have big content plans. So I know that there's been a lot of talk in terms of gifts and things like that. So we'll talk more about that as we get closer to it.
Okay. Are there any other questions before we go on?
No, I know it's kind of general, but if you our 10th anniversary is going to be big, right? Because of course it is, because it's
Yeah,
freaking 10
you know how
years,
many
right?
games-
So
Yeah.
it's going to be a good time, and I'm sure we'll be kind of in the game worlds, kind of hanging out, having fun, doing interviews, chatting around with people. Probably do a big live stream celebration. I know we have content plans, tied into that as well. Which I actually saw a little bit about how one of the sort of things that people are going to be doing here around the anniversary time frame, but I don't want to spoil that either. So let me just sort of be coy at this point.
All right. Then let's head into our store sales. Terry, what's on sale this week?
Free sample of the week this week is a Summon Skirmish Soldier ×5. Use coupon code SUMSKIRM 1 time per account. Is that the skirmish? Is that the one that lets you scum? So blah blah
Summon
blah
your
blah. I can
skirmish
talk really.
soldier.
Summon on landscape.
Yep.
Summon soldier.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
25% off virtues, virtue bundles, trait slots, skill and slayer, deed boosts. Don't care. Don't waste your turbine points.
Skill and
Except for
Slayer
trait
speed
slots.
boosts are awesome to buy
Yeah,
when
well-
you need them for, like, when you're trying not to spend a bazillion years killing that 500 pile of whatevers.
Yeah, I like those Slayer dudes.
Yeah. The trade slots are awesome too, especially when they go on sale, like, I don't know, the week after you spend 500 turbine points or LOTRO points to buy them on your free-to-play account that you only got so many LOTRO points on. I'm not saying that's happened this week or last
You're
week
just
or
talking
anything,
hypothetically,
but- Yeah,
right?
hypothetically, yeah, exactly.
Well, here's a pro tip. You know that gift that you get after you do the intro and you're in the game and they send you a gift in the mail and you can open it like every couple of level or every level until like level
Yeah.
10 and it's
Yeah.
got all this cool stuff in it.
Huh?
The skill and Slayer deed boost stuff that you get in that is not bound to your character.
Oh, yeah.
Potentially,
It's
like
not?
nope, it's not. So you can stack that stuff in your shared storage, just level and alt through the intro to like level 5, 6, 7, whatever, and rinse and repeat.
Oh, do you know what?
Ooh.
I know something that's coming in update 20.
Uh-oh. Yeah. That'll go away.
Probably not, because it's still bound to account. It's just not bound to your specific character.
Yeah, and it does take a good half an hour to an hour to make an alt just to get out of the intro.
Yeah,
Unless
and
you're
you
spending
don't get
LOTRO
it
points
if
to
you
do it.
if you veteran status to level 5. You don't actually get that thing. You only get it if you completed the intro.
Yeah. Well, I'm just thinking in terms of, like if you're doing a throwaway character and you're not going to keep, like you do a LOTRO point character or something, you're not going to keep them. The thing is, whenever I do a LOTRO point character, though, I typically burn that sucker while I'm running the Shire Slayer deeds just for speed.
Oh, sure.
that's-
Slayer deeds are easy since they lower how many you need.
Yeah, I know, but you can do it in like half an hour for the entire zone if you burn that little thing. And sometimes you can even make it debris and do some of those too.
Right.
But I would rather do that than spend LOTRO points to get more of them.
Well, you've given me things to think about. Yes.
That she did her job.
But this is cool because this is well, never mind. I was thinking free gift. Oh, it was the skirmish soldier thing. It was like that's cool. It's 5. That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I'm only 5 minutes behind on the conversation. Don't mind me.
No, it's okay. That Summon Skirmish Soldier on landscape is a handy thing in a pinch
is.
when you're like trying to do something that's probably too hard for you to do by yourself, or you just need an extra hand, and you're like too lazy to go find somebody.
Or nobody
Like,
will
there's
play with you.
Well, I mean, there's been more than one
Nobody will play
occasion
with
where I
you
was like,
anymore.
man, I just want a little bit extra firepower. I'm thinking of Agmar specifically. Like there are
Oh,
times
yeah,
if I'd have had a pocket herbalist as I was running through some of the stuff on my Guardian, I would not have died.
Right. That's true.
Well, it was funny, when I was running through Paths of the Dead, I actually rolled a Hobbit present and got a skirmish soldier from the Hobbit present, so I was like, well, that's appropriately timed.
That was well
I'm gonna
timed.
summon
Yeah.
my skirmish soldier and have a pocket healer.
Let's head into our site news, and we'll begin with the community events calendar for January 16th through the 12th. And anything you wish to mention on this?
Winter stock is the week after.
Okay, winter stock is coming up. Winter stock 4 on Landreville at Thorns Gate from January 13th through 16th. That's starting on Friday at 1 p.m. and continuing all the way until Monday. Whee!
Yeah, huge one. Obviously, we're not going to be having it all on LOTRO stream. Although, if someone out there is going to be streaming that live and plans to set up a camera for an extended period of time, get in touch with me. We can set you up with a key to stream on LOTRO stream here to get as much of that on there as they are interested in having us on there. But I'm sure I would like to at least take a couple hours to feature the event. And so I'll be doing that later next week, or this upcoming week here.
I'll actually be streaming it, and as you know, I'm already on the stream team there, so it's just Forte here. So
okay, excellent. I didn't want to commit you to it. I wasn't sure what your plans were.
Well, that's my thing. Yeah, when we do events like that, especially with music, I try to do it so we can get out to the community. Absolutely.
Fantastic. So that's Force01, right?
Forte Maestro.
In terms of the Twitch channel, is it just Forte Maestro now?
Yeah, just Forte Maestro.
Fantastic.
All right, and exploring Lord of the Rings, a new token learning experience.
Woo!
Maven, I think you know something about
I guess
this?
I should talk about that, huh? It's also part of my highlights for the week. So we had the class 1, and of course, when we do these free class, whenever we've done free classes, we always expect the first class to be, the biggest one. But we certainly were not expecting the numbers that we had. We finally figured out there was, conservatively speaking, probably about 400 people between Twitch and in-game that attended the course, which was really nice. Lots of activity. Speaking as a Tolkien scholar now rather than a player, it was great. I mean, folks were coming up with great questions. Corey only went through a third of Chapter 1. He's actually going to take 3 weeks to go through Chapter 1 and probably 3 weeks to go through Chapter 2. That's how detailed this course is. And we were just getting great questions, really good participation from people. I got lots of I'm the stage manager, by the way, which is why I'm the one talking about it. So I'm running around, doing all the logistics kind of backstage stuff. And got lots of really good thumbs up feedback from folks. So there's stuff to iron out, especially logistically, but everybody's good about that, and it's just going to get better. I mean, Corey and I talk on a regular basis kind of about the course and the plans for it and what he's going to be doing and stuff, and I'm really looking forward to it because that kind of close reading. I mean, especially for me, like Chapter 1, I don't even think I read it that close when I read it the first time, which is probably the most detailed time I've ever read it. And I've read Lord of the Rings a lot of times, but I realize when I go through Chapter 1, it's usually like, oh, yeah, I know what happens. Let me get on to the action, get me to Bree or whatever. But really, there's a lot there. I mean, there's really a lot there. So if you haven't seen it, it is up on the Signum University YouTube channel. And it's really great. And we had lots and lots of people show up. I mean, it's really fun. Next week, we're going to be doing our Crick Hollow under the sponsorship of Second Breakfast Kin, and we've got other servers we're going to be on after that. So it's here to stay for a while, I think, and it was just really, really fun. I don't know, did any of you make it to it live? Finally,
yeah, I was able to. I wasn't in game.
What Carb, you were there?
Twitch.
You were in
Yeah,
Twitch, right?
I popped in, and it was very much like a digital Cheers type experience. I popped into chat and I kind of waved and I said, "Hey guys, what's going on?" And it was like, "Carve!" Yeah, I was like, "Oh man, I feel all happy inside." But it was really cool because I only got to hang out for a little bit of it, but the part that I did get to see was really neat.
Yeah, I wanted to see it, but I completely missed it.
And I should mention in the show notes, we do have a link to this article, and in the article, there is that Signum University video, and if you click at the top of that video, that'll take you over to their YouTube channel where you can subscribe to Signum University so that you can know each week when these come out and be able to watch their videos.
Yes,
yeah, and it's too late really for me.
We're not surprised, finally.
Yeah.
I empathize, Pinely. If I wasn't doing the stage managing, I'd be watching the video, frankly, because it's really too late for me. But oh well, I take a nap.
One of those late Tuesday things, right?
Yeah.
Correctly? Yeah.
What time is it exactly?
9:30 server time. And it goes from 9:30 to 11:30. Yeah, Corey's got this thing called family and children, so 9:30 is like the earliest he can ever make it to be in game without pulling wife out, girl.
I know the feeling.
You know the feeling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Well, your solution is to go early in the morning, but he doesn't even exist early in the morning. So
I lose the sleep in the early morning hours,
Right,
whereas he
right.
stays up late. Yeah.
anyway, so it was great, and hopefully we'll be continuing on for a good long time.
we'll see how that goes. And there is a correction from earlier in the show. We were talking about the soldiers summoning things that are 5x5 that are available.
Oh, it's not the landscape time. It's the one.
No,
where
it's
you can-
not the landscape
The other
time.
one.
It is
It's
the
the
one.
one where you can summon them in combat.
Yeah.
The
I always forget
significantly
to do
less
those.
useful one.
How long do they last?
They only last while you're in combat.
Yeah, it's basically, I'm in combat, I need to resummon my soldier, as opposed to something which is very mildly useful unless it's a particular situation.
It's like if you're
As
in
opposed
a
to-
skirmish and your soldier dies.
Yeah,
so-
I mean,
Yeah.
captains and lore masters can do that anyway with their pets, but you can do it with your skirmish soldier too.
Right. The idea is you use one of these, you summon your soldier, even if you're in combat, and it has a 1-minute cooldown. Hopefully, you don't lose your soldier twice in a minute. So.
Yeah,
It could happen.
yeah. It's definitely not quite as useful of an item though, so I can see why. There's 5 of those. Oh yeah, we gotta give those away. Nobody buys those.
So I'm not as experienced with the whole skirmish side of things. So what's the difference between the landscape versus the quick summoning of it during combat? I mean, one of them's permanent until it dies, and then you can resummon it after you're out of combat. Right?
Well-
So you're in. You want to hang this pine leaf since you're the skirmish.
All right. The difference between these two things is the one we're talking about, the one that's actually giving us the free sample, is an item that you use while you're in a skirmish. And if you're in combat, it allows you to summon your soldier even though you're in combat. Because normally in a skirmish, you could summon your soldier anytime you're not in combat during a skirmish.
So then, what was the other one that you guys thought it was?
The other item that we're thinking of is the item that allows you to summon your soldier onto the landscape, onto the normal landscape, where you could...
Outside of a skirmish.
Yeah, outside of a skirmish. Now, you can't summon it into an instance like the Vile Mall or anything like that. It's only for landscape items, and you cannot summon it into town. If you go into a town with the summoned soldier, the soldier automatically disappears and the countdown stops. It's a 1-hour time, and it's only active when the soldier is present.
Yeah,
And it still fights with you, right? It's not just
Yeah.
cosmetic.
Right.
No,
it fights right. As for a cosmetic one, if you're in a housing neighborhood, you're allowed to summon your soldier at any time inside of a housing neighborhood. That doesn't require anything special or anything like that. And since you're not going to be in combat normally in a housing neighborhood, that's pretty much just for cosmetic purposes.
So that's the other thing, right? Is the one on the landscape is actually on a timer. So if the soldier dies, you can call it back like you would, like a lore master would have had, right?
Right, as long as you've got time left in there.
Right.
And
Yeah.
usually when I use the thing, I am approaching a place that I think might be a little tough, then I summon my soldier, I do whatever I'm going to do there, and then unsummon my soldier. But if you're deeding with it in order to make deeds go faster, then you might just keep it out for a while.
So does the clock stop
No.
when you dismiss the soldier?
Yep.
Yeah, the clock stops.
Oh, okay.
It's
That's
nice.
cool.
You can save that. It's
That's
like you
cool.
just put you burn the token, and it goes into your little summoner
Right.
soldier summoning icon, which I'm actually looking at. Soldier summoning the thing. It goes into the thing, and the little numbers change, and it's great because then you can just click on it, and then it makes your soldier appear. And then when you want them to go away, you get rid of them, and then you have like a little clock that tells you how many minutes of
cool.
soldiering you have left. Yeah, that's cool. I think on one of my characters, I got like 5 hours because I had a whole bunch of them in my shared storage, and I just wanted to get them out of my shared
Oh,
storage.
so they stack also.
Oh yeah, you can stack them
cool.
up.
Up
Pretty nice.
Yeah, if you have 5 or more hours, then it won't let you add any more.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
That's pretty cool.
sort of the
5
limit on
hours.
that.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm going to go, I don't know, eat something somewhere with my archer. Yeah, let's go do it.
Cool.
Now let's head back into our news, and we'll go to the Family Line Part 116, To Stem the Black Tide.
Yeah, interestingly, they are in Bree, and I almost expected them to go into the new lore hall, but I don't think they do. I kind of skimmed through, but I don't think they do. But maybe they will next week.
Maybe
That'd be
next
cool.
week, because perhaps they didn't hear about it in time to do this particular issue.
Or maybe it doesn't fit
maybe
the
it won't fit
story.
with the story, yeah.
Maybe it's like, oh, there's a new building in town, so story arc, man. Yeah.
It doesn't change the story.
I know, right? We got to go on. It wasn't part of my quests.
Yeah, he's a lore master. He can fit it in somewhere.
Okay, that's a good point. It's like it's never really canon until the DM actually says it, right?
All right. Now, do we have any more questions for Cordovan?
There
me
have
up.
not, there have
Ask
not been
here.
any in the chat, but yeah, feel free to ask in the chat if you have any other questions for Cordovan.
We are working on a producer's letter. We kind of referenced that a little bit earlier, but it's something we're hoping to get out within the next couple of weeks. No promises, but that's the current plan. And it's really going to be kind of a overview of what we expect in 2017, just so that people kind of have a sense of where we are. Nothing has actually changed, and we have talked, quite a bit about things that are coming. So all that stuff is still coming and is on track. But we're going to put it in one place and make sure everyone kind of has a sense of where we are and where we're headed. And that should be out within the next couple of weeks. We also are, wrapping up Yule Fest? That'll be not this weekend, but next weekend, right? Getting shut off.
15th, 16th.
Yeah, 15th, 16th,
Yeah,
right?
this
So
morning.
now's a good time to wrap up all that Yule Fest stuff if you want to do that. As people saw on the live stream here this week, I actually got the chance to do some of the Yule Fest on the stream, and that was fun. And I've been having a good time, and we had really positive feedback on all the cosmetics and that in this year's Yuletide Festival. So thank you very much for that positive feedback.
All right, and speaking of the Yule Festival, I believe that we have a relevant new player question this week.
Yeah, it was funny actually because I was thinking after we talked about the soldier summonings, any other week I would have said, okay, that was a new player question. But because the question this week has to do with Winterfest, I'm keeping it in since we only have another week to go. So I wanted to actually ask you guys as co-hosts, and it's a general question, so you can answer it however you want to. What's your favorite tip about Winterfest? About doing Winterfest, being at Winterfest, whatever. Doom, 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 doom. Crickets. You want me to start? I'll start. You want me to start?
Okay, go ahead.
I have several of them, but probably my favorite tip is the eating contest. I remember we talked about this last year, actually. At the first station, you do not have to be in a hurry. There's no timer. There's no, and you don't have to rush to the next table. So you can eat the stuff. You can let other people go ahead of you. You can time it so that you're not ending up bunching up with other folks when you get to the other stations, because that will cause problems. And unless you're really fast and smart and whatever, it could keep you from completing the feast contest. So just take your time, eat your stuff and then you wait. Don't click on the gold ring right away. Wait, make sure the coast is clear, that the next station is available and that you are likely to be the only person to go. And then I ride my horse, between stations, which helps a lot because if you try to run it with the debuff you've got on, it can be really hard. So that's probably
They
one of my
allow
favorite
you
tips.
to mount up?
Yep.
Wow.
Now, that may
I
change
always
for
run.
day 20, but
Yeah,
Now,
I usually run, but yeah.
Doesn't that alcohol, I think that mysterious brew, the mysterious alcohol, I usually, when I see it, I get it. And I think it actually, because there's the pies and there's the bread that slows you down. But I think if you actually use that beer itself, it actually
No,
makes
it's a 50-50 chance. You're either going to get something that takes away all your stuff, or you're going to
Or
get
it
something
makes
that's
you
going to add
really
to
messed
it.
up. Yeah, it either
And you gamble. Either you're gambling when you
it's-
drink it.
Oh,
it's either a
the
curative.
heaviness.
Yeah, it's either a curative or it completely wastes you.
Yeah, right.
There's no middle ground. Man.
Incidentally, technically everything that you consume, except for the good side of the beer, is a debuff, because even the
Right.
berries, eggs, and mushrooms will slow you down. They just slow
Right.
you down less than the bread and pie. So technically all of that will debuff you. Also, the 50-50 chance when you get the bad one on the beer, it's a shorter cooldown than all of the other ones.
So it's better to
still
drink
worth-
that no matter what, huh?
It's better to drink that no matter what if you see it pop up, because it's going to
Mm.
go away faster than anything else, because it's only on for like 10 seconds. I actually never mount up when I do the festival. What I do is I will try to position myself, because the timer doesn't restart until you've talked to the NPC to turn in the quest. So I try to position myself as close to like going to the next place before continuing, because then that's when your timer actually starts. Rather than wasting a couple of seconds to mount up, which I guess I could do that instead. But
I actually mount up while I've clicked on so while the window's coming up, I'm mounting up. So I don't waste any time. I mean, it's like a simultaneous click on the guy and mount up at the same time. So
I remember talking about
Just
this.
saying.
I just completely forgot about it this year.
yeah, I mean, it can be done, but you're right. There's time. I find that there's time that I waste when I get to the next station, dismounting. And if I'm not
Yeah.
positioned right to the stuff, then it can take me some time to get positioned. So that you do lose some time that way. But I don't know that it's any less time than it would take me to limp my way, with green stuff coming out of my body as I'm trying to get to the next station. So
The only one I get that is like the last station. Usually the rest of them, if you're focusing on your berries and your mushrooms and the occasional egg, you're usually all right.
But I've done that and then gotten to the last table and had nothing but pies.
Oh my gosh, that sucks. I have
I
done that.
I've done it. And I've gotten
had
nothing
that.
but bread.
Yeah.
Oh my
Nothing
gosh.
but bread and
forget
pies, and it's like you're not gonna win. Just eat as much as you can and hope
You
it
know.
respawns in the middle of your
Yeah.
eating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, that's some great advice. If we're talking about brand new player advice, it's really worth mentioning as well to seek out the mayor and speak to the mayor as soon as you get into the area, and that'll kind of help guide you to where you need to go.
Well, they don't actually
Absolutely.
let you do the quests unless you've done that intro.
Yeah,
for-
you have to do a tour of the
interesting.
town before
to
you
take
can
the
do the
tour.
quests. Yeah. Yeah. And the mayor, but you don't want to talk to the mayor too much. He's not really all that great a guy.
Oh,
man,
man, the mayor's
you do at
got
least
some
need to check in with him.
He's got some swanky threads.
And a really weird mustache and crossed arms all the time for
yeah.
some reason. So I don't know what's going on there.
Here's something else I can toss in there as maybe I don't know if it's so much a tip as maybe a favor, especially at this stage of the Winterfest. If you end up getting chosen to be one of the actors, go ahead and do the wrong emote from time to time, or do all the wrong emotes, because at this point in the Winterfest, people are trying to get their rotten fruit deed taken care of. And I've always noticed, and I'm this way too, you want to do the right thing. You want to get the right one. You want to do the right emote. I've actually had people, when I've been an actor, send me a towel saying, would you please, screw up a couple of the emotes, because I need to get my right.
Oh, sweet. Does that mean I can pretend that I did that on purpose?
Yes, you
Yes,
absolutely,
absolutely.
can.
You can be the noble hero, not the bad actor.
You should say, listen, I was doing that to help people out because I know it's easier to get the flower petals deed than it is the rotten fruit, so that's why
I've
I did that.
actually,
It's all about
in
positioning.
previous years, if I've been chosen and gotten on stage, before, you actually have to go on stage, I'll do like a say, because everybody sees that, and just ask if people need more
Yeah.
flower petals or fruit.
That's a good idea. That's a good
That's
idea.
cool.
Because sometimes, because I noticed real early in the festival, I actually have more fruit than I have flowers at this point, so I need flowers. And I've got everybody doing the wrong emotes. I'm like, come on, guys.
Oh yeah.
I was just going to say this is a new player tip /emote list. Will give you the full listing of the emotes available to you.
Right. Yeah. So, and it's kind of fun. I always think it's fun for me. I always try different emotes to see which ones actually do turn out being okay and which ones are wrong.
Right.
If you
Nice.
talk to the actors who are out of commission backstage, they will give you tips.
Oh, you
That-
can actually
Yeah,
talk
that's
to
true.
Yeah.
Yes, you can actually
yeah.
talk to them, and they will give you tips on how to play your role.
Yeah. And then you've got Ronald Dwale there saying things like, "What if the Eagles took the ring to the back?" No, that would never work. That's my favorite line.
That's fantastic.
That's my favorite line. So anyway, so anything else you guys have on Winterfest in terms of get through it? I use all the festivals to
more of a PSA. Cheer 3 times at the same snow beast. Don't go wake up all 3.
Oh, that's another one. That's a big one.
If you're fast enough, you can actually click that new emote button that pops up with the quest 3 times, and you only have to do it on one beast.
You don't even have to be all that fast because
no, you don't.
It's active all while because the thing takes forever to like get up and stretch and decide to move around, and you've got that whole window to keep clicking.
Oh yeah. And actually, I've been told that, like, if somebody else got him started, but he was still in the process of yawning and stuff, you can actually get in there and it's like tapping. Yeah. You can actually get in there and do it as well. So you don't have to wait for him to lay back down again.
So I have Sauron says, "Why throw rotten fruit when you can toss the bodies of your vanquished enemies? Much more enjoyable."
Is there a deed for that?
I know, right? There should be.
I don't think there is, so that's why people don't do that one.
I think only Sauron gets that deed.
You're just throwing yourself at me. Wait a minute, that's your dead last body? Why didn't you tell me? I tried to catch you.
I know this is just kind of a general game tip, but it works really well when you're trying to find that last item for the snowflake or the snowman building. Is that I run around town spamming the U key, trying to select things. Or is it you or
delete.
I don't know? I have my use item mapped to delete.
No, it's delete. It's delete, and then U is to actually.
Okay. I run around town spamming U when I'm looking for stuff, so that it'll like highlight, and I'll be like, "Oh, that's where it is. Cool."
Yeah, I do that with the letters. I keep on spamming delete for the letters, and once I catch one, I hit U, and it automatically takes me there. Yeah. Now, I did find one from, I actually learned one from the actual treasure. This was actually from Maiden Rohan when she was doing her stream, is the fact that when you actually go around and release your critter to like dig down near you, I actually realized that it actually does go to the highest one around you. And it actually does indicate that everything around that area is smaller. And so if you go to and get one that's a medium, then the rest of them are probably either going to be mediums and smaller ones. So it's better, instead of just going a couple over to release it, just go in a whole new area, release it, and then see if it goes to a bigger one. So I thought that was a big one.
Yeah. Anybody else for Winterfest?
No, some good tips.
Yeah.
Then let's head into our weekend LOTRO and ending. What were you up to?
Yes, well, I helped the nail guy in Gondor.
Cool.
Yeah, he definitely needs a lot of help.
And how to raise his kids?
How to raise at least one of his kids, yeah. His daughters are probably great. I take his word for it, but his son needs a little help. Also, I continued to keep the ranger camp quote-unquote safe. I still don't know how safe it is there in Gondor, but, I'll take their word for it. Also, I made a fake, mock news report about the new Scholars Hall in Bree for my YouTube channel, and people seem to really like it. It's actually done better than my normal content, so thank everybody that's been supporting that.
Very cool.
I think you should fake everything.
But have we heard yet about how it was paid for?
I don't think we have yet, Pineleaf, no. But we could ask Cordovan how the new Scholars Hall was paid for.
That's right.
Because we really don't know how... Yeah, Brelanders want to know.
The new taxes on the citizens?
Yeah, we're worried.
It was the generosity of a mysterious benefactor. Named Chris Pearson.
Awesome.
It was in his will, I guess.
Farm has been doing really good then.
So, Carv, what have you been up to?
I have spent some time in the Misty Mountains, dodging squeaky toys. Roving threats. On my free-to-play stream, I was in the Misty Mountains this morning, and I forget that some of the places that I used to use as shortcuts from Quest Hub to Quest Hub are kind of out of the way. And dang it, there's a roving threat there now. So, I dodged a couple this morning when I was trying to get ore, but that was a lot of fun. was in Rivendell after I did a little bit of questing to finish up one of the quest arcs that kind of bounces you back and forth between Misty Mountains and Rivendell. Rivendell. And sure enough, I see this crowd of elves running at me. I'm like, holy smokes, I've never seen this many elves in Rivendell. Like NPC elves. And I stopped and I was like, what's going on here?
Wait. There were elves that were running?
Yeah, Arwen was in there. She was running too. Elrond was not in his library. I mean, this was like big news. And so I'm watching this crowd of elves run up, and I'm reading the text. They're right there by the Spire of Meeting, and they're cheering, and I'm reading the text, and it turns out somebody had turned in the final quest for defeating the dragon at Helagrod. And it was going through the whole celebration scene about the elves being excited that the zombie dragon was dead. And it was this really cool thing that I've never seen before because I've never finished that raid. But I was like, oh, this is neat. Cool. And so I sat there on my stream with my mouth open going, oh, neat. Oh, look, there's Elrond. And there's Arwen. She came down off the hill. You know? And,
He was starstruck.
yeah, I was totally geeking out for a moment. And then later on, I'm running around and I look up and I'm like, what is that weird shiny thing on my buff bar? What the heck is that? And I look it up and I forgot that I read at some point in the past that when you beat the dragon, there is a 2-hour 1+ hope buff that goes on your character when you turn in that quest. And so because I was in proximity, I got the buff. And so I was like, oh, cool. So I'm running around with this like +1 hope just because I was there gawking. I was like, this is awesome. Hope gawk buff, yeah.
That's
And then,
fantastic.
and
So
then,
you were like the elven TMZ that just like got happy that they got like this exclusive coverage, basically, is what you're saying.
For me, it's like I'm on my Baroning, I'm on my candle antler reindeer mount, and checking my mail, and I'm like, what's with all the commotion? What's going on? And then all of a sudden, it's like, oh, this is cool. And then beyond that, I ran my my free-to-play champ all around in Lone Lands. I discovered there's a new way that I'm going to run the Spider Canyon in Minas Ariel to not have to backtrack so much, because I've discovered there are actually 2 ways to get in and out of the underbelly of that Spider Canyon with the signature spiders. There's like this busted up shrine staircase in addition to going through the wargs and the baby spiders. So
Yeah.
oh, cool. There's actually 2 ways to get in and out of here, and it actually makes it so that if you go up and kill the goblins first and then go down and kill the spiders and do the loop and then go back up, you can skip a little bit of the backtracking to get back to the camp. So I thought that was pretty neat. So Forte, how was your week?
It's actually, I didn't do a lot of stuff in game, but of course, since both the treasure hunt and Yule Fest stuff was going on, probably spent most of my time doing that. And I usually would gather up to 40 pickaxes before I go out there on my hunt. And here I am. This is before I knew about that whole trick that Maiden had found, and so I'm going to every single hole. At this time, I didn't have the critter, and actually capturing them. That they're all ones. And so I would continue to spin 40 of them. And it's like I could have done, but I still didn't get enough to get the goat. Oh well. But so I spent most of my time doing that because Yule Fest was also going on, and so I had a hard time trying to figure out which one to actually go to. But I was finally able to get everything from Yule Fest that I wanted. So I got my reindeer and I got my reindeer head. So that'll be good for my my actual mounts. I also, once the actual lore hall came out, and actually took out my lore master Antiquities, and actually ran him around checking out the lore hall to see all the commotion, and it's actually pretty cool. As everyone's been saying, if you guys go and check it out, it's actually pretty cool down there. It's double layered, multiple walls of books, and it's a whole library. My only thing that I noticed in there that I kind of had an issue with is you can't sit down. I mean, you can almost sit down on the chairs. You can sit down on the ground, but I think that would be awesome if the chairs were actually somehow made sittable. But
yeah, it's a pretty big technical task. I don't think it's likely, unfortunately.
Yeah, and I know that's been the case of a lot of the other places out there, like a lot of the other stages that you guys put out, like the Bree festival area. So yeah, I know that's been an issue. But one of the other big things that occurred was, again, Hobnanigans came back around. And so we actually today, we actually had our monthly tournament. And I had a special guest, or a special commentator there, Maven. Actually got to join me.
So it was really funny, actually, because I thought to myself, I'm going to do it. So I was wearing my Cloak of the Clock, and I put my Lady of the Wings title on, and I thought, okay, I'm going to wear my chicken mask. So I get there, and Forte is also wearing his chicken mask. So it was like, this is so cool. It was really fun.
And I was jealous of her because she had the cloak, and moments after I got my cloak, I accidentally deleted it. I spent all that time, yes, and it sucks. Yeah,
that's about as bad as I felt when I accidentally deconned my brand new 100 first ager.
Oh, I did that. It was awful.
But I think it went pretty well. We actually, when we originally started up with like 10 teams signed up. Think about that. That's 30 people signed up to be able to compete. We in the end ended up only with 4, and half of them were actually new teams this week. But I think actually we had some technical glitches, we had some stream issues, but I think in the end it actually turned out rather well. And it leads me into like the whole idea of wanting to maybe our 1 year anniversary comes up for actually starting it, I think in April. So we're working on probably coming up with a yearly grand champion competition of it, and inviting people from all the servers to come in there, bring some teams, and try to compete for some sort of their own competition, bragging rights on the website. So I think that was going to be pretty cool. So I think overall it went pretty well.
Cool.
What about you, Maven? What have you been doing?
I mean, besides being a chicken, as we already talked about, I stage managed the first class of the new lore course. I'm the Hobbit sidekick to Narnian, the Gondorian lore master, and in great Hobbit fashion. Actually, my Maven on Landreval is a hunter, so I was sending friends on fire, smoking a pipe with the Sons of Numenor, just kind of doing a Hobbit thing. But other than that, is managing the logistics, which is a lot. I've done a lot of event logistics, not in game. This is my first time doing event logistics in game, but it's not that much different. A lot of communication, trying to make sure people know where to go, trying to make sure people know what to do. I would say I maybe got a B+ if I was going to grade myself on it, but there's plenty of room to go. We're in Crick Hollow next week, and we've got a kin sponsoring with us, so we're gonna, it's the layer thing and also the getting people out to the field trip. Those are probably the 2 biggest things. But it'll smooth out, and it's great, and it went really wonderfully. I figured out the flower thing in North Ithilien, and so was able to get Glordriel all of the North Ithilien armor pieces. I've only got one set. Just the chest piece is filled with essences now, but the only reason that that's the case is because I'm running the Winterfest like a crazy person, picking up the mats to do wild essences. So once Winterfest is over with, I imagine I'll be, I certainly will have enough mats to do the essences, and so she'll be all tricked out in her new armor, ready to take on Mordor, which, by the way, I noticed there's a very nice, first time, I don't know why I didn't notice it before, but the map of Mordor is pretty awesome in the game now, so I spent some time looking at that. And then last Sunday, the girls of Middle-earth on their stream went to help a dwarf guardian named Thilbos, who had to have a particular set of armor because it just looked so awesome. Kim needed, forget what it was, but it was a barter item that you could only get from the Vile Maw. So we ran the Vile Maw, and then it was like, great, okay, let's go do something else. Let's go to Winterfest. Let's do this. And then she's like, oh wait, I don't have the boots. I don't have enough medallions for the boots. Okay, let's go do Grand Stair. And we took in the turtle on the way as well. So that was our good deed for the week, right, Terry? Was getting Philbos all tricked out in his armor. Yeah.
Well, if it was in fact the set that used to be the Grand Hoo-Ha raid set, that does look pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie.
I have to say, Philbos looked pretty awesome
it's a pretty cool looking set.
Yeah, when she came to show him. So
for those who've not seen Girls, the show is about 20% figuring out what the heck we're gonna do, 20% figuring out how to do it. About 10% Elise getting killed, and then 50% fashion. So, I mean, if you don't watch the show already, you need to.
So it's a
Like, while we
typical
fight.
woman's life, right?
It is. It is. It's like, oh gosh, while I'm curling this orc, gee, Terry, I really like that outfit you have on today.
Oh my
It's-
gosh, that
yeah.
sk just completely.
That's right.
Off the
Oh my
blood.
God, that outfit looks so awesome with your war steed. I love it.
Nice.
So.
It's so beautiful. I don't even care about this orc sword that just went into my neck. It's great.
No. The fact that I now am in the res circle, not a problem.
Yeah.
Just gives me more time to check out this fabulous bag.
So it is pretty fun. It's a lot of fun. So how about you, Terry? I know one thing because you unveiled it at Girls.
Well, speaking of girls, I received a gift, in quotes, a gift from Lalia's Market in real life, and it was labeled to Terry Adwin from Lalia's Market, and it also said must open on the Girls of Middle Earth stream. Which, if you don't follow me on Twitter, too bad, because I posted a photo of it, as we were going live with girls. And so as we're getting everybody together and figuring out who's going to be in the group and who's not going to be in the group, I opened the present to see what Lalia sent me, and also on Twitter, and you can see it in the show notes because I put a link to the Twitter post.
Oh, so good.
Lalia sent me a bottle of yellow dye.
Way to go.
Yeah, that happened. And then I finished out the year.
So no, wait. You should explain why that's so funny, because some people may not know
Well,
about
if
you
they
and yellow dye.
don't know, then they can just go watch all the girls' highlights.
Basically, Terry Edwin absolutely can't stand the color yellow in game.
I'm not a fan of the color yellow in general anyway, and I think it should never ever be worn in game. So, and we have a hobbit who dresses in yellow and likes to hop all over my screen to troll me.
It's nice.
You just hate Tinky. Just admit it.
I don't hate Tinky. I did the whole dress up in yellow for Tinky's funeral, but yeah, I don't actually think that it's a color that should be worn in game, ever. But I finished out the year by getting Crick Hollow Terry to level 100.
Nice.
So yeah, that was how I spent my New Year's Eve. After I got home, because I missed the podcast last week because I was at a party, and after I got home, which was still before midnight, I'm like, oh, I'll log in the game. So I did
So you
that.
were counting up
and
instead
then,
of counting down.
Yeah, and then Arkenstone Terry yesterday during the field trip went from level 83 to level 84, and this is important because the last time I had played her, she just hit 83, so her bar was like empty. And then
Nice.
so the 2 hours of the field trip, Wildemore questing, she went up the entire level,
Nice.
like the whole bar of XP. It was pretty awesome.
Whee!
And Cordovan doesn't have anything in here, but Cordovan, did you want to tell us what you were up to
Sure, I
this
can talk a little bit about what I've been up to. So I sort of swung back into the office on Monday, Tuesday, and on Tuesday I was able to live stream a section of the toast to J.R.R. Tolkien that took place on Laurelin. That was a really cool toast in honor of Tolkien's 125th birthday. There's about 20-some minutes of the start of it, really, where they did the toast and launched some fireworks and that. Then they went off and did some other things. I didn't record all of that, but you can find video of it if you're interested in that. But that was a really, really cool time, really fun time, and that happened on Laurelin on Tuesday afternoon, Eastern time.
Cool.
The other thing is I'm working to get all the last of the Extra Life donations out. I haven't done the drawing yet just because, frankly, people have kind of snuck in some last-minute donations who want in, so just like, fine, whatever. And but I'll be doing that real soon. I am working to get in touch with people who donated enough for like an in-game meetup and that sort of thing. So stay tuned if that's you. It took me a lot of work, frankly, this year to get through both Extra Life and Movember. So it was a little bit delayed from what I was hoping it might be, but I'm getting that done. Otherwise, like I said, I'm doing a lot of work for LOTRO because we're just kicking off doing a lot of kind of rubber stamping of our final plans and things like that. So been a couple of late nights at work. And then in addition, I'm mostly on Landreval. My character's, I believe, level 23 right now. As I said earlier, I ran Yuletide stuff and really enjoyed that a lot. I'm probably going to keep doing that until Yuletide is done because I'd kind of like to get a few of those items and things like that. But otherwise, I'm largely working my way through the Epic storyline. So, I'm still quite the Lovey, but I'm making my way through it, and that's what I'm up to.
All right, then on the Arkenstone field trip, I was with our regular group was running the Grand Stair. So we were doing this pretty much on level. We had to pull in one person with some trickery who was one level too low, but everybody else was around level 57. So that went pretty well on the most part. We had a minimum number of deaths, and this is the first time I ever had a character collect the drum from the beast.
Oh, I love that drum.
Yeah, I love it.
And one of the characters, one of the players was nice enough to switch to his minstrel that had the drum mentoring skill, so to mentor me so that I could actually use said drum.
Better.
Yes. Now, on my Crick Hollow Lore Master, I reached level 104, and I left this week just a tiny sliver below 105. So
Just couldn't finish it.
yeah, just didn't have time today in which to get that last little sliver there and get up to 105. But I'm getting really close to reaching peak on there. And this was also the first week where my lore master participated in the skirmish raids that we sometimes do over at Crick Hollow. So I was doing that also, and that went reasonably well. I don't think I died too many times during that time. And in that group, we do tier 3 105s. And yeah, so I was able to get some stuff in there since this is the first time I've been running those things. And then my champion on Gladden reached level 29. But the highlight for my champion isn't reaching level 29 or any of the quests I was doing in the North Downs, but it was that when I opened up the gold Hobbit present yesterday, I managed to get a set of agility tomes.
Nice.
And I had completely forgotten that those could possibly drop in Hobbit presents. And I decided, okay, I will send this little package to my warden. And I said, what do you mean, bound to character?
Oh.
And then I decided, okay, let's open the package. It turned out that the tomes themselves were bound to account. It was only the package that was bound to character.
Nice loophole. Nice.
So therefore, I opened up the package, and then I sent the contents to the package to my warden, and so my warden now has the 5 tiers of agility on there.
On the exchange to update 20?
Update 20, yeah, I was like,
No, that's something that should have been, the Hobbit present should have been bound to accountants of character, because most Hobbit presents are.
Yeah.
So therefore, I think if there's going to be an update to that one, it should be to change the package to be bound to.
Quarterman, you're
rather
taking
than the other
notes,
way
right?
Wait, Quarterback,
Oh
you're
yes,
not,
detailed notes.
you're not taking notes, right?
It's not like he's going to go back and fine tune this later on in some meeting. Like, okay,
You're supposed to be on our side.
here were some of the things.
So, did you guys know?
Yeah.
All right. This week, a special thanks to our top supporter, Onishi, Officer of the Sons of Numenor on Landreval.
Woo!
Yippee!
Yes, and Onishi does challenge people to dethrone him as the top supporter. He did want to mention that he is challenging people to take over for the top supporter.
Oh, nice. Gauntlet has been thrown.
Do you mean the top supporter gets a mention every week?
If they want it, they can, yeah.
If they want it. So
Yeah,
therefore,
we did have a previous top supporter who didn't want it, but Onishi's all about it and is thrown down the gauntlet.
Ooh.
He should. He deserves it.
So therefore, if we stop mentioning him at the every episode, you mean that someone's dethroned him and didn't want to be mentioned?
Possibly, yeah.
We currently have 22 supporters on Patreon, and if you'd like to join this illustrious rate of players and help support LOTRO players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even be a guest with us here for an episode of LOTRO Players News. And of course, as mentioned earlier, if you want to dethrone Onishi, you could try to donate enough to be the new top supporter.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
And we have an email from Himagain.
Him again.
Him again, okay.
Him again.
Wait, you got one from him again? Not again.
Him again.
Not him again.
Not him again. Not
And
him
since
again, that'd be great.
ending, since
Great.
you know how to pronounce his name, you get to read the mail.
I'm just assuming that you might have been right, Pineleaf. I don't know, but I will go ahead and read this. So, him again does write, "Greetings, my fellow Lotroians. I will get right to the point and let you get back to your business." Okay, well, let's just move on then.
Okay. Goodbye, everyone.
So, no, they do say, "Solo player that just entered level 40 and looking to group with others. I never had to set combat options to play in a group. What combat options would I be looking for? Would the options be different between a 2 and 3 man and or a 4 to 6 man group? Looking at the tool tips, some are straightforward, but others are, huh? Thank you for your time and effort you give to this great game. Him again of Arkenstone."
Well, I think earlier we were talking about this. One of the
Can I
things,
just say 2 words? Assist window.
Yes.
that was the big one, assist window. That's probably one of the biggest ones on the combat options you can get. I mean, really, you can check just about all of them. The only one that we reached a consensus that wasn't necessary was the auto war steed slowdown, and that's not something you have to deal with until level 70, 75 anyway, so it's not a big deal. There's a couple in there, like there's one that'll enable movement assist in combat, where if you hit another combat skill, it'll automatically move you over to hit said critter. There's a mixed bag. If you like that, great. If you don't like it, don't check it. It's pretty simple. There's enable target skill forwarding. That's a really nice one to have checked, especially if you've got a primary target. Like if you're going to do the assist window, you might as well go ahead and make sure you enable target forwarding, so whatever thing you hit is going to hit the same thing the assist window person is using. That's a good one to have, especially if you're playing like a ranged character. You just target whoever the assist target is, and then if they change targets, you just shoot through them, kind of, so to speak.
To explain what that actually means, skill target forwarding means that sometimes if you have an ally targeted and you use an attack skill, you get a pop-up message that says you can't attack this target or not a valid target or whatever. If your target has an enemy targeted, like if you're targeting somebody who's listed as the target, in the assist window, then an attack skill that you use will actually target your target's target. If that's not confusing enough, but it's a great way to make sure that everybody's on the same page, because you can have somebody in the assist window and everybody targets through that person. So no,
Your friend would rather you try to kill the thing he or she is trying to kill, rather than, say, the person your best friend.
yeah,
So in other words, you can hit your best friend and they'll deflect your blows to another enemy.
Incidentally, this actually works in reverse if you happen to be the healer. If you, by mistake, end up targeting a mob and you use a healing skill, it'll actually pass your healing on to whoever the mob has targeted.
Huh.
That's
And
interesting.
that's sometimes used with bosses if a healer, if
If the
If
boss
healer
will
was-
if the boss will randomly go off and target somebody else.
right.
Yeah.
It's useful in such situations.
So in other words, there's a lot of orcs with violent mood swings because of this, is what you're saying, where they think they're going to be happy and then nope, really
then
depressed still.
So then your healer can focus on targeting the critter, so that way you will be constantly healing whoever is its aggro target. So I like that.
Yeah, for sure.
Any other thing to say on this?
Is there any difference between 2 and 3 man or 4 and 6 or any of the group sizes? I can't
Maybe-
think of any for combat option. Go ahead, Forte.
unless you had multiple individuals, because usually you have one major tank. I think sometimes I've experienced where you've had like two people who are the primary tank and the backup tank, or someone who's the primary tank and then the attacker. And I know with the larger groups, some people do set up arrangements where if you have multiple healers, having them focus on those two individuals or whatever number of individuals who will be taking the brunt, especially if you're being aggroed with multiple targets. If that makes sense.
Yeah. It gets into raid mechanics at that point, and it gets kind of tricksy. One of the things I've found that helps me is that I tend to turn off. I don't think it's in the. I think it's in the social panel. It's not in the combat panel. But you can turn off dispellable effects that aren't cast by you, or dispellable effects that have no bearing on what you can do. If you turn those off, it clears up your window a lot, so that you can look at somebody's character screen and not see like 50 bajillion little icons underneath it. And I like turning most of those off. Specifically, let's see here. The ones I'm talking about are in. I'll look it up real quick. There's some in combat options, but there's also some in UI settings. No, social options. Yeah, only show dispellable effects, and then display. Yeah, that's it. Only show dispellable effects. Basically, it only shows the ones on a particular character's icon that you can do something about. Otherwise, it's not necessarily that important that you see it unless you're looking specifically to call out, hey, you've got XYZ thing on you. You should probably get rid of that before you die. I just turn them all off.
All right.
If you would like to be like him again, you could send us an email by sending it to podcast@LotroPlayers.com. You could also follow us at Twitter, the Players Alliance @PlayersAlliance, Lotro Players @LotroPlayers, Ending LP, Forte @Forte_Maestro, Carvet @CarvetLP, Maven @TolkienMaven, Pineleaf @PineleafFields, and Terry Adwin @TerryAdwin. And you could also follow our guest Cordovan at
Jerry Snook on Twitter, and at Lotro. Just find us on Lotro, and go to things from there. Lotro Stream is our Twitch channel. We have a lot of Twitch people on virtually every single day of the week, so if you do want to check out the schedule there, please do so. I stream there on Thursdays at noon Eastern, so again, that's twitch.tv/LotroStream. And let me close with saying one of the coolest things I heard this week in the office involved a very well-known spider and how things might work there. So I will leave you guys with that.
Okay, yes. Well-known spider raid.
Well, I saw something earlier today that said technically it's not a spider, it's a spider-like form. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. Technically, she really isn't a spider. She just looks like one because she's a Maiar that changed or something. But in any case, she's a big BA nasty creature that looks spiderish and is said to be the matron of all nasty spiderish creatures in Middle-earth. Which is why I think Middle-earth spiders tend to be portrayed with stingers as opposed to fangs.
And Carve, I wish all the glasses and windows in your house the best of luck when Mrs. Carve sees this spider.
I tell you what, man, that woman is not a fan of spiders.
And I think the only thing that could scare her more than a spider would be a lesser deity that is disguised as a spider.
I'll tell you what, there are going to be some situations when we're role-playing in the Woodlands where there's going to be spider encounters. And there won't be graphics, but she'll be like, oh, no.
Can I watch that? Can I watch that stream?
Oh, yeah, that'll be on Thursday nights, actually, starting this week.
All right. Yes. The Players Alliance has 4 live shows every Monday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News every Thursday at 9 p.m.-ish U.S. Eastern Time. We have XP Quest every Saturday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have LOTRO Players News, and on the last Friday of each month at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Academy After School. You could join us for our live shows at LOTROplayers.com/live. Thank you, everyone, for listening. This is Pine Leaf Needles reminding you to skirmish responsibly.